Good morning, everyone. Today we'll start with Unit 2, that's the Geography of China, Part 2, Lesson 1. Again, there are certain reminders before we begin the lesson. I want all students to have the student handbook ready this time. Keep your GS handbook. If you don't have, you can have your notebook ready. And textbook, workbook is optional, as again, many students may not have it with them. But if you have them, it's excellent. You can refer to those pages. Have your stationery pencil eraser ready with you, and again maintain a good distance from your PC and use headphones if you cannot hear clearly. Okay, so I give you 1 minute to get everything with you besides you so that we can have the lesson running smoothly. The schedule of this lesson will be, first we'll have news sharing, followed by we'll be looking at adaptations to the natural environment. That means how people adapt themselves to different landforms, and we'll be taking a look at 3 landforms like highland, grassland, Loess Plateau, and then there'll be homework for you, which I'll talk about in detail later. This week's news sharing will have to be done by student numbers 17, 18, 19 from all the 4 P4 classes. Now, student number 17, 18, and 19, you need to choose a topic related to health, environment, or any current issue, anything related to general studies, humanities, science. Now you need to cover the main points and prepare a video for 2-3 minutes, and you need to upload the video like how you upload all your homework. If you're not sure, please click on the file that I've uploaded on how to upload video or audio or file onto Google Classroom. Let's learn about people living in various natural environment. Now look at these 2 pictures. These are the pictures of landforms, and you should be able to tell me by now what kind of landform is this. Is this a valley, a volcano, a highland, or a lowland? Well, I'm sure all of you know that this is a mountainous region. It's snow-capped mountains, and you can very well tell that these are highlands, okay, very high mountainous regions. Now, how do people live here? Do people live here? Yes, of course, they live here. Many people live here. And what kind of weather and natural environment they have in higher places? As you can see from the picture that the peak is covered in snow, it'll be like this throughout the year, and the climate here is very dry and cold. And it's very unstable climate. The climate can change like drastically. It could be windy or it could be snowy, and they could have harsh winds. So it's a very unstable weather in high mountainous regions. As we learned from the previous slide that in higher mountainous regions, in highlands, the weather is very unstable and people do live there. So what kind of lifestyle do they have? Do children go to school? Do they have similar houses like how we have in Hong Kong or US? And what kind of animals they have? Do they have the same cats and dogs? And what kind of animals do they have in that part of region? Click on the link below and watch the video to find out more about how children in highlands, what kind of activities they do. How do they go to school? Are they having similar fun like you? Or are they having more fun than you? Do they play the same toys? Do they have the same textbooks? Do you have the same lifestyle? If you have to choose, where would you want to be? Would you be like studying in a highland, living in a highland region, or you're happy with where you are? In this slide, we'll be looking at houses, what type of houses they have in highlands. As you can see from the picture, you can see a cluster of houses, and the houses have flat roofs and they have small windows, and these houses, they are all made of big stones, which is quite natural because that's the only thing they can find in their surrounding area, right? Because this is a mountainous region and they have lots of big stones. Besides that, stones also protect them from harsh climates, harsh winds, the cold winter. So it gives them a very good protection because stones are quite thick and quite big, and so it's kind of inside the house, it forms good insulation. So these big stones keeps the inside of the houses quite warm in winter. Now next we'll look at another unique feature, that's the flat roof. Now the flat roof is due to dry, sunny and windy climate of Tibet. And a flat roof helps them collect rainfall in places where water is scarce. That means it's very limited. They don't have that amount of rain. So whenever there's a rainfall, they can collect the water and keep it for future use. You can also see that each house has lots of windows, right? Now these windows are because they don't have the electricity that we enjoy here. So they have to make use of the natural resources, which is the sunlight. Let's look at this picture. Now this animal is called yak. And in high mountainous regions, in highlands, you'll find a lot of yaks. And these yaks are called vessels on high plateau in Tibet. Why? Because these yaks, besides providing the yak milk, which is very, very important to people living in higher mountainous regions, because people make a lot of things out of yak milk, such as they make yak butter, they make yak cheese, and also they have a lot of other products made from yak milk. So yak milk gives them strength and it's a basic staple food. Now, besides providing food for the Tibetans, the yaks also help them in their work. Now look at the picture on your left. They carry heavy loads, they can walk long distance and climb steep slopes, and most importantly, they survive cold weather. So they are kind of very integral part of the high mountainous life. In this slide, we look at how people in grasslands adapt to the natural environment. The average height here is 1,000 meters, and this region has rugged relief, few mountain ranges, and a lack of forest. If you look at all the pictures carefully, you can see they don't have tall trees, there are no tall grasses, they have little grass which is just growing very close to the surface. Now, one of the reasons is because of the harsh climate and also of the height. Now, look at the picture on the left, the top one, which is like a white tent. This is called yurts. Now, this is a special houses which the Mongols built, and it's called yurt. Now you can ask me why yurts are convenient living places for some Mongolians. Do you know why? Can you guess? Let me share. Now many Mongolian people, they live a nomadic life. That means they move around. They do not stay in one place for more than 6 months or a season. They keep moving from it could be seasonal or it could be like few months. Now, when they often move around, they need to carry their stuff, like they need to carry their houses, they need to carry the herds, they need to take their animals with them. So now if they have something like yurts, which are very easy to dismantle and can be transported from one place to another, right? Just imagine they having those concrete big stone houses. Do you think it'll be easier for them to carry? No chance. That's the reason they're convenient homes for Mongolian people. These grasslands are better suited for people who have lots of animals, lots of herds, because they have a lot of grass for the animals to feed. Here we'll talk about Loess Plateau, which is at a height of 1,000 to 2,000 meters, and it's above grasslands. Now these plateaus, if you look at the picture carefully, it's a hilly area. There is not enough water. As you can see, there is no vegetation. Now the ground is covered with a thick layer of yellow soil, which is very dry, and the soil is infertile. That means it's not rich in any nutrient and it cannot have a lot of vegetation growing on it. Now, with only very little vegetation. Now, if you look at the slide on your right, which is little green. Now, because this region, the plateau region, okay, it has lack of flat land and water. There's not enough water, there's not enough flat land. People have to make terraces on hills. That means they have to carve the hill and they have to make a flat land and they can do the vegetation on it, and so it's very slopey. In this slide, we look at lifestyle in plateau. How do people adapt to the environment in a plateau where the climate is very dry with little rainwater, and it's usually cold in winter and hot in summer in Loess Plateau. Now, if you look at the pictures on your left, you see interesting houses which are like caves and which are dug inside those plateaus which has loose soil. Now, these houses are called yaodongs, and these yaodongs help people to stay away from a lot of dust on plateau, and they are very durable and they're very cheap to build. It doesn't cost a lot of money. But one main disadvantage in living in a house like this is, if you see, only the outside is exposed to the light, whereas it's very dark inside. So it prevents sunlight from getting inside. Okay, it's very dark inside. So that's one disadvantage of living in yaodongs. And why do people live like this? You may question. Again, it's the same answer, that they have to use what is available to them in their natural habitat. If you look here on a plateau, there are not very many trees, you just find dried twigs and branches, but nothing heavy that they could build upon or build with. So that's the reason people dig caves in the cliffs of loose soil, and also to prevent from like a lot of sand and dust, they prefer a house like this. Now look at the picture on the right. You see Hoi clan. This is one of the major clan of the country. That means many people are Hoi people. They live in this autonomous region in northwestern part of China. Now, these people, they believe in Islam. That means they're Muslims, and so there are mosques in places where the Hoi people gather. Their common language is Chinese, but they also use some Arabic words. Now, because of their religion, the Hui people do not eat pork, as they think pigs are not clean. So as you see, this specific part of China has a very different religion. They are Islamic, and they go to mosque, and according to the tradition, they do not eat pork. They do not eat pork, as they think pigs are not clean, right? And also one important feature of Islam is that they eat meat that is called halal meat. There's only one homework in this lesson, and that is you need to prepare a research report on the topic, and you have to choose any one landform, say a mountainous region or volcanic region, island, peninsula, delta, grassland, highland, lowland, any one. And how do people living in these landforms they adapt to their natural environment, because people adapt differently to their environment, to the natural environment. Say for example, people living on a high plateau or mountainous region, they have a different lifestyle as compared to people living in lowlands, right? So you need to write down the unique features and the different habits of people living in these regions, and also like how do people with limited communication, minimum transportation, minimum resources, and against all the harsh climate conditions, how do they survive? To prepare your research report, I'm showing you two templates. Yeah, the one on the top you see is a coastal plain landform, and where is the location? What is that landform? First, you need to tell people, you need to tell the teacher what landform you're talking about and what kind of plant vegetation you have. How do animals adapt to this environment? And any interesting facts in their environment. What do people eat? Do people eat like us, or it's different, or the houses? So this is just a reference point for you. You don't have to copy the exact. This is just to give you some basic idea on what you need to prepare and how you need to present.